Professional lacrosse is back in Toronto, and they promise the place will be rocking. Led by captain and 7-year vet Jim Beltman, action is sure to be fast and furious. He teams up with Rookie of the Year Colin Doyle for the Rock in search of their first win of the season. Doyle's 34 goals last year led all rookies and was 4th league-wide. Just 21 years of age, this native of Kitchener promises the future for lacrosse in Toronto is solid as a rock. 2 weeks ago, the Rock rolled into Baltimore to meet preseason favorite, the Baltimore Thunder. The Rock delivered on their pledge of aggressive play, but were ground into pebbles by the talented Thunder squad. Legendary Gary Gate threw a record 16 points on the board to help ferry the Rock. Last week, it was all-out wars. The Buffalo Bandits also heard the Thunder as they crashed the Bandits' home opener. They were no match for Gates' splash and Baltimore's dash as their record dropped to 1-1. And with both teams coming off losses, buckle up as aggression is the word of the day. And in the NLL, it's no mercy and no holds barred. From the Gardens in Toronto, the soon-to-be former home of the Maple Leafs opens its doors tonight to the Toronto Rock of the National Lacrosse League as Canada's national pastime has been revived in Canada's largest city. Yes, indeed, the fastest game on 2 feet. And welcome to the world-famous Hot Club Stove Club, along with the Head Rock, Bill Gibraltar. Waters, congratulations, man responsible for bringing this game back to Toronto. Rabid lacrosse fans, a sport that not only serves up the sizzle, it offers the steak as well. This is going to be fun tonight.
Sure is. It's a place Bonesy and I just love to be at all night. I think you enjoy it too, Paul. It's a wonderful setup here for the people who attend the pregame party. We've had a lot of fun out in the hall, and there's still people pouring in. It's a wonderful evening for lacrosse, a great evening for the Gardens because it's a wonderful place to attend an event, and we couldn't have a better setting.
8,000 tickets sold, a possible walk-up perhaps of nearly 10,000 fans. If you're to start this rivalry off, you can't get a better team than the Buffalo Bandits.
No, exactly. Buffalo is one of the best teams in the National Lacrosse League, and their success speaks for itself. So we've got our hands full from a competition standpoint, but you're right. We couldn't have a better rival than the Buffalo Bandits. As our rivals in hockey, the Buffalo Sabres, have shown us, we pack both buildings. I'm looking forward to it developing.
Great year so far for the Leafs. We're wishing the best for the Toronto Rock.
I hope we win half as many. We've been in pretty good shape.
All right. Bill Waters of the Toronto Rock. A pleasure to welcome my broadcast colleagues for the Rock this season. The new voice of the Toronto Rock, Joe Bowen, and the analytical expertise as well of Brian Shanahan. Gentlemen,
thank you very much, Paul. Bill Beck never looked better down there in the hot stove lounge, that's for sure. We are here really with a great opportunity for Canada and lacrosse in this nation as our national sport really takes some of the spotlight. But for those of you who have not seen the game or maybe not participated in this great sport, Brian's here to provide Lacrosse 101, and there's a lot of things that these two games are similar in as ice hockey and basketball. Brian, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, here's what you need to know about lacrosse. The objective of the game is the same as hockey, scoring your opposition. Yet strategies and some rules are much more like basketball. The crease is off limits to players, and what makes it very interesting is cross-checking and slashing is legal. Let me show you on the screen here. This line here is the over and back line. When the defender gets the ball in his end, he's got 10 seconds to get it into the other team's end, and once there, he cannot bring it back into his own end, and he's got 30 seconds to get a shot on net.
The goal crease is another area that's kind of interesting because it's a little different than hockey.
Yeah, the crease is really a protected area. Nobody in the opposition can step into that crease. A defender could come in and get the ball. Yet what's interesting is you'll often an offensive guy can dive through the crease as long as the ball's in the net before he gets there.
And we're going to see a lot of that throughout the course of this game because both of these teams can score goals. One of the youngsters that the Toronto Rock are considering really the backbone of this team is a young fellow by the name of Colin Popeye Doyle, who really exploded on the scene last year.
Yeah, Colin actually, the game one last year, he was a replacement player in the last minute, and he managed to score 4 goals that game, and he never looked back. He ended up leading the team in scoring last year, and he was the Rookie of the Year as well.
When you take a look at the Buffalo Bandits, you see a team that is really full of veteran talent. And certainly Darius Kilgore is one that is going to have to be looked after as far as the Toronto Rock is concerned. This young man has got great experience and a great bit of savvy around the net.
Yeah, Darius Kilgore is one of the fiercest competitors I've ever met. He's got the hardest shot in the league, maybe, and an indication of his competitiveness. He was the top scorer in the team last year, but he's the career penalty leader in this league as well.
So it is going to be an exciting night here at Maple Leaf Gardens, and certainly I'm sure there's a little bit of butterfly action in Les Bartley's stomach. He's joined by our Paul Hendrick.
Joe and Brian, thank you very much. Les, the problem at hand, corralling the likes of Adaris Kilgore and John Tavares. What do you have to do to stop them tonight and in turn win your first game of the season?
Well, every night you play against great guys like that, you have to look at having some defensive guys that shut them down. We have to have a defensive plan where they don't have big nights against you, scoring 5 and 6 goals. So that's what you look to do.
Do you look for a transitional game in terms of getting the offense going and getting that fast break up against this very tough Buffalo team defensively?
Absolutely. That's what we're going to try and do. We're going to transition on the far side, on the opposite side of our bench, and try and take them down there so they can't get their defensive matchups.
Talked with Bill Waters about the obvious air of excitement here at Maple Leaf Gardens. A promised crowd of probably 8,000 to 10,000 people. This has got to be a major boost for your guys.
Yeah, we're real excited about being here at Maple Leaf Gardens, and it's just great to be here.
Les Bartley, head coach of the Toronto Rock. His team is set, so too the visiting Buffalo Bandits. In a matter of moment, 8,000 to 10,000 fans here at Maple Leaf Gardens will be set for the opening face-off. You're watching Toronto Rock Lacrosse on Sportsnet. Molson Toronto Rock Lacrosse on CTV Sportsnet.
Welcome back to Maple Leaf Gardens. Joe Bowen along with Brian Shanahan. The name sounds familiar. It should. He's got a brother that isn't too bad a hockey player either, that also Brendan played an awful lot of this game.
Yes, unfortunately, everybody asked me if I'm a much better lacrosse player than Brendan, and actually I wasn't. Brendan was a fantastic lacrosse player too, but obviously he chose hockey for financial reasons, being one of them.
Not a bad decision either. He's turned out to be a pretty decent hockey player. Here's our national anthem and Dan Clancy.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Dan Clancy and the national anthems here tonight. Jumping Jack Slash walking off the floor behind him. He is the new mascot of the Toronto Rock. The guy has got an awful lot of athleticism about him. He was jumping off the boards, doing headstands and everything else.
Maybe signing him up before the game's over.
Here's a look at the Toronto Rock down around goaltender Bob Watson. The 28-year-old native of Guelph gets the start in goal. And here is Marty O'Neill, 34 years of age, a 6-year veteran, but first with the Bandits And Marty O'Neill, 685 save percentage, as you see, and an 18.007 goals against average. And here is Bob Watson, the Guelph native. He's a machine operator by day, and in his second year in the NLL, he gets the start here tonight. And just to make things even more confusing, they'll switch ends as the Rock will work down in the south end of Maple Leaf Gardens, closer to their home bench, obviously.
That's just a lacrosse tradition. Switch ends at the last second. You're talking about the goaltending there, Bonesy. Marty O'Neill's a lot better than his stats from last year. He played on a weak team that basically had no defense, so I think he's out to prove that he's a better goalie than his stats showed last year. But Bobby Watson last year had the second best goals against average in the league, and he's very strong, and the Rock's counting on him having another great season this year.
He was the NLL second team All-Pro in '98. The referee, the head referee, is Bill Fox. He's a Toronto boy. Mike Ventura of Baltimore, Bruce Crawford of Boston are also with him. And in the penalty box area is Scott Malloy of Toronto. He is in charge of making sure the game clock and, of course, the shot clock are running effectively as Les Bartley starts barking out some instruction from behind the Toronto Rock bench.
It's a good thing that Bill Fox, the head referee, is a Canadian, because we've got two teams that play Canadian style. There's quite a bit of a difference between the American style lacrosse and Canadians. And although Buffalo is an American team, they've got 13 players and their starting 15 runners who are Canadian-trained lacrosse players.
So it is Brian Silcott with Rory Graham for a rather historic face-off here at Maple Leaf Gardens. And the home opener of the Toronto Rock just seconds from being underway. You notice that they have to be back behind the lines in order to get the game underway, and here we go. It wasn't done correctly or fairly, so here we go with a ball being turned over to the Bandits.
It's like somebody on the Rock went early on that face-off, so the Bandits got the ball there.
Tavares is number 11. You want to keep your eye on him as he works to the front of the net. The pass back now to Moridian. Here's a shot that went wide of the goal. Watson down, and the ball will roll back over the timeline. And so the ball will be turned over to the Toronto Rock.
That's an example of the over and back rule. The ball went back over their line, so Toronto gets possession of the ball there, Joe.
Teams change very frequently in this game, Brian, and they will change from offense to defensive players very quickly.
Yes, the game's become a game of specialists. Each team has a few guys who just play defense and maybe a few guys who just play offense.
Colin Doyle having difficulties there with John Tavares, and here is Tavares, and you see again the changing going very quickly here from offense to defense.
Toronto's trying to get Rod Squires on the floor whenever John Tavares is on the floor. Rod Squires is going to have the assignment of covering Tavares, but it's often the backup that's important as well.
Rory Graham with the hit down low, but the ball will be Bandits. Brian Silcott in the corner. Dropping it for Neil Doddridge. Panos with a shot, a deflection in front of the net, and again contact in the crease area.
Yeah, I don't think that was a very good call there. That was he called him for pushing him in the crease, I think.
Darius Kilgore with the ball in the corner. This game moves at breakneck speed. It's the fastest game on foot, and it is appropriately called just that. Looking down low, the first goal of the game is Chris Panos. So Chris Panos makes it 1-0 for Buffalo.
Okay, somebody left this guy for just a second, and he snuck in. That's Chris Panos snuck in, and I think it was Matt Giles left him for a second, and that's all it takes to leave a guy open, and he'll score a goal.
1-0 Buffalo. The game is 4 quarters, unlike some of the summer action, which is played in periods, 3 periods.
Yeah, the summer game is just like hockey. The 4 quarters, that comes from the American angle of the sport.
Travis Kilgore, number 22, getting it down low to John Tavares, going to the net.
Terry Bullen just did a great job there on Tavares. He only gave him one way to go.
And Tavares whistled down by referee Bill Fox for a crease infringement. And the ball will be turned over now.
Here's Tavares trying to go to the net, and you see Terry Bullen just gave him nowhere to cut in. Tavares had no choice but to run through the crease there.
Goaltender Bob Watson standing his ground, and Tavares is whistled off for a penalty, and the Toronto Rock go on the power play.
Okay, Johnny got a penalty there, but I have no idea what for. I assume the referee said that he could have got out of the way of the goalie, but Johnny ran into the goalie, so I assume that's for hitting the goalie.
Loose ball, and these are very, very important statistics. Loose balls gathered up here now by the Buffalo Bandits. This is Shaden Santos, and he bounced it wide of the net.
This is something Toronto really has to watch for. They don't want Buffalo to score any shorthanded goals, and the transition game of Buffalo is very strong. Toronto has to try to stop that.
Derek Keenan bringing the ball up to set it up. Here is Doyle. Getting it returned. Behind the back pass into the corner, and another loose ball that's going to be controlled by the Bandits, but into the near boards for Dudridge.
Now this is where Toronto's applying a little pressure, hoping that they can waste that 10-second clock before Buffalo gets the ball over the line. But the illegal hit there allowed Buffalo to bring it out.
Minute left in Tavares' penalty. Hazen heading to the bench.
At this time now, Buffalo's just going to try to kill the 30 seconds. The 30-second shot clock is still in effect even when you're short-handed, and that's the difference between Canadian lacrosse and the National Lacrosse League.
Down low, Cordingley, trying to drive to the net, scores! Troy Cordingley, who is second in Bandits' all-time hat tricks and third in goals and assists, makes it 2-0 on a short-handed goal.
That was a great effort by Troy, yet I think Bobby would like to have that one back, Bobby Watson. From the angle, there's no way it should have went in from that angle.
So a short-handed goal with 36 seconds left in the Rock power play, and the Buffalo Bandits lead by a score of 2-0. Rod Squire taking it to the net, and a good save made there by Marty O'Neill. The goaltenders, well, you got to be a little insane to play that position in either sport, hockey or this one.
Exactly. Never let your kids play that.
They are well equipped with protection on the upper body, small shin pads, a 4x4 goal to protect.
And that ball hurts. Regardless of all the equipment they wear, they come out of the games with bruises on them. Here's a potential fast break, but Jimmy Veltman decided to be wiser to slow it down and hold on.
Change of players for the Rock. 2-0 in favor of the Bandits. Trying to get it in front. Bullen had it lost. Now Williams works around on the boards. And it is scooped up there by Marty O'Neill.
Now that power play, I'm sure Toronto's disappointed with that power play. And in lacrosse,
here's a chance in tight and a good save off Santos.
power play percentages are much higher in lacrosse. A good power play is usually about 60% in lacrosse, unlike hockey that's around 20%.
Rich Kilgore taken to the boards heavily here and double teamed, and the ball is turned over, and it is Buffalo ball. Accordingly, trying to move. We've lost a helmet, but Shaden Santos has regained a valuable piece of equipment in this sport.
And notice Dan Lattiser throw the ball in his own crease there, and that's another difference between the summer lacrosse and this league, is that you can throw it to your goaltender, and it's a great way to relieve pressure in your own end.
Langdale getting it into the slot. This is Rory Graham looking for the Rock's first goal. A backhand didn't work as it was blocked there. Kim Squire trying to make the play. Long outlet pass. Here's a chance for Batley. Didn't get it. 2-0 Buffalo. 9:40 to go in the first quarter. Hurd taken to the boards there by Jamie Batley. And Russ Hurd from New Westminster, BC. With the ball, and we've got a timeout taken on the floor as the Buffalo Bandits lead by a score of 2-0 here at Maple Leaf Gardens.
Joe, you're going to be seeing a lot of the fast breaking from the bench in this game. As soon as the team gets a ball, somebody's running to the bench, and somebody's getting a head start off the bench. In this case, Jamie Batley. And you'll see both teams will be doing it, and they'll cheat as much as they can.
We'll get a look at it later, but there is a line right out in front of the benches. Now, technically, you're supposed to at least have 1 foot inside that area before you can change. But like you say,
the rule in lacrosse is cheat as much as you can.
Very good.
Regarding every rule.
All right. Going back of the net, here is Darius Kilgore. Getting it in front, and a good save made by Watson. And the ball turned over. The keys for Toronto's success here, Brian?
You can never stop John Tavares from scoring, and you shouldn't have that in his name. What you want to stop him is from having one of his fantastic games. That's a key to Toronto. A couple of the other things is you don't allow Buffalo to get their breakaways or 2-on-1s of transition. Stay out of the penalty box. They had the #1 power play in the league, and Toronto's power play has to be above 60%, which last.
Here's a look at what was thought about as far as a key for Buffalo and Les Wakeling.
Yes, I spoke to Les Wakeling today, and one of their keys was that stop Jimmy Veltman from getting all the loose balls. He just dominates in that area. They need a strong game from their goalies, and they need to take away Toronto's inside game.
Coincident minor penalties, Dan Ladouceur and Darius Kilgore. A rock on the power play and about to go on the power play now. A good collision in front. It's swatted in front of the net, and as it is controlled now by Buffalo, here is referee Bill Fox with a slash, I believe, that he detected, and so the second power play of the game goes to the Toronto Rock.
Watch this hit here. That was a perfect slide. What you call in lacrosse is when generally you play man on man, but you got to keep your eye open to see if you need help, and that guy slid over to help his teammate, and that was a good hit.
Rory Graham shaken up a little bit on that collision. Hurd and Doyle, it is a 2-minute slashing penalty, and the Rock on their second power play, and the shot, big save made by O'Neill, and he's down to cover up on the ball. And the Buffalo Bandits will get a chance. This is a good hard shot.
Doyle's testing him early, and Toronto needs to get some shots. That might be Toronto's first shot on net, so Toronto's got to establish some shots, especially when they're on the power play.
Killing the penalty off is Jamie Batley. Now for Ciccone.
This is where Toronto should really just stand back, and they will. Just let them kill the 30 seconds. They know they're going to get the ball back on the power play, and that's what happened there.
Exactly what they did there, and now Bob Watson will quickly outlet, but the Bandits get a chance to change to some defensive players, and the power play has 1:19 left to go in it.
They've got to get more shots now. They're trying to. They're a little bit tense. They want everyone to touch a ball, get a little bit comfortable, and then you're going to see some shots.
Here's Williams with the shot, wide rebound, great save by O'Neill. Good reflex action there in tight. And there's a souvenir over the glass.
You'll see a few of those, Joe. More so than hockey.
Hurd shot it wide. Important to try to keep it in, but it rolls over the timeline. It is going to be waved on. Williams right back with the ball. Doyle.
The over back doesn't count if it's a shot, so that's why that one wasn't called there, Joe.
Doyle with a chance, knocked down. Talk about Brian Shanahan's 101. We're all going to learn as we go along here. I'll guarantee you that.
I'm still learning a lot of these rules too, Joe.
Long lead pass, chance here for Doyle. Scores!
Beautiful goal.
Nothing but hemp hut there, and the Rock have their first goal at the Gardens, and it goes to Colin Doyle, the Kitchener native.
You watch, Colin Doyle was sneaking up the floor there. He had a suspicion we were getting the ball back, and he snuck up the floor, and he got it, and he took a nice outside shot. Notice it was a bounce shot. There's the pass. Doyle was sneaking up the floor. Watch the shot bounce. Beautiful shot.
Power play goal, so 1 for 2 in that department, Brian, and an important key, as you pointed out. Rod Squire decides to pull up. Jimmy Veltman, the captain of the Toronto Rock, waiting for change of players.
Rod Squire is a very important player in this team, especially for his role on face-offs. He's fantastic at picking up balls. He's a lot like Jimmy Veltman in that area.
This is Derek Keenan. Trying to move in, gets a shot and bounced it wide. The rebound into the safety of the crease. Played out by Buffalo. Down the floor is John Tavares. Pass in and a goal! On a nice play, Cordingley finishes as Tavares set him up.
Once again, Toronto got caught on the fast break from the bench there. We're going to see this one from end to end. Watch when Buffalo gets the ball. Somebody on Buffalo's running to the bench. That guy up there just left to the bench. Somebody's coming out here. And that was Troy Cordingley. This is something that Les Bartley will talk to the team and tell them to take that away. Buffalo's busting off the bench very fast, and they've got 2 scoring chances already.
That is, again, a great demonstration of the transition game that this game of indoor lacrosse can provide. Chris Langdale. Now for Hurd. Russ Hurd trying to barge out. Hurd in a lot of traffic, sends it to the net. Bouncing ball, backhanded, scores! Dan Stroop.
Watch this shot that Dan takes. It's kind of like a backhand in hockey almost. Okay, here, Marty O'Neill bobbles that ball, and Dan Stroop picks it up, and he just takes a backhand similar to a hockey backhand.
Again, Brian, getting the ball out of the crease area is legal.
Yeah, it's actually legal to reach in and pull it out, as long as you don't do that when the goalie has possession.
And Dan Stroop did a nice job there for his 2nd goal of the season, and it's 3-2. Rod Squire. Now to Coyle. And he scores! And this game is tied at 3.
We just spoke about Rod Squire and the importance of picking up loose balls. If we get a chance, it would be nice to see him get that loose ball before turning that into a 2-on-1.
First of the year for Pat Coyle from Toronto. Played in the 98-man Cup.
Okay.
For the Coquitlam Adirondacks.
Veltman takes out the man, and watch, everybody's taking out the man. Roddy Squires comes up with the ball here. And Pat Coyle, who's a defensive player, jumped into the play with him. A beautiful pass. Nice bounce shot again.
And so we are tied at 3s with 5:40 to go in the first.
So lacrosse is a game of momentum. The team can score 4 or 5 goals in a row, and you're not out of the game. You're never out of the game.
Good
this
chance.
early on.
Matt Giles going to the net, and now some shoving down there with Colin Doyle and the goaltender. He is shoved up against the wall and gets a shot in, and now gets a shot and turn from John Rosen. We better explain this aspect of the game, Brian.
I'll tell you, Marty O'Neill's been known to have a temper, and the other team knows, I mean, Toronto and any team that plays Marty knows you can get to him, and I think Doyle's getting in his face a little bit. If we see a replay of this, Marty gave him a little shot while Doyle was down, and Doyle's just taking it for the team. He wants to get under Marty's skin.
Bill Fox will sort it out. They'll get the net restored, and here's the scramble around goaltender Marty O'Neill of Buffalo.
Now watch that. Marty gave him a little shot to the head.
Also was kneeling on his hands so he couldn't get up.
And Colin's taking it for the team. They'll all taunt Marty as much as they can. Marty can lose it, and he's aware of that.
Marty O'Neill.
Doyle to the penalty box, and Bill Fox, you heard, describing the penalties, and right now discussing them with Jim Beltman. Silcott will take the penalty and sit it out for the Buffalo Bandits on behalf of his goaltender. Tied at 3s in the first quarter of Game 1 to be played at Maple Leaf Gardens by the Toronto Rock. Glad you're along with us. The shot bounces into the goal crease and is controlled by Bob Watson. Quickly for Pat Coyle.
This is where Toronto's starting to feel a little more comfortable. Be nice. They're going to try to get the next goal, obviously, but I think the first few minutes there, they were feeling a little tense.
Here's a chance, and a good save made by O'Neill. Ball turned over to the Bandits. Stolen. Kim Squire, and off the shaft of the racket of O'Neill, and went wide. Squire stole that ball right in front of the net on a good play from the Brantford native. An iron worker with the Iroquois Structural Steel Company almost had his first to the Garden.
Welcome back to the Gardens and Toronto Rock head coach Les Bartley. 3 quick goals. You've got the crowd back into it.
Yeah, we started a little slow. I guess we had some jitters out there. We weren't getting the ball movement we liked, but now we're starting to get that taken care of and getting our defensive matchups.
All right, let's go back upstairs to Joe and Brian.
Thanks very much. We're going to have you coach down there, Paul, in another game, I'm sure. Beltman.
The mask looked good on you.
Yeah, it did. It was a major improvement. Beltman with a loose ball stolen.
Toronto's made a change here, putting Jimmy Beltman on the power play, and part of that is for defensive reasons. He'll take away their fast break that Buffalo's been using on them.
And you mentioned how good he is at loose ball recovery, Brian, and this is so important, especially here if you're going to get another 2 and 3 shots at the net while the power play. Good pass! And a good save made there by O'Neill as Beltman made a nice behind-the-back pass to try and set it up.
Jimmy reacted back very fast on that to take away the fast break.
Rosa with a pass in front and accordingly got felled in the goal crease. Another good fast break by goaltender Marty O'Neill. 1:09 left in the power play for Toronto. This is their 3rd of the game.
You spoke about Jimmy Beltman and his loose balls. Last year, he had about 180 loose balls to lead the league, and the second best in the league was just 100. So that shows how much he dominates in that. He also led the league in assists last year, and that's another good reason for having him on the top of the power play.
Rosa killing off time here. 2 seconds left, and now they throw it into the corner, and the Rock will have to organize their power play from deep down the floor.
You notice that Toronto didn't even try to get the ball back there because they knew there was only about 10 seconds left on the shot clock. They just want to let the time elapse and get the ball back on the buzzer.
Hurd in front. Williams' shot went wide. He goes to the loose ball. Forced there by Santos. Now Hurd. His shot. That was off the glove. Here's another chance in front. Good save again by O'Neill. Rebound. Rolls into the goal. Wait, it's waved off.
I don't know why Foxy's calling that one off. I assume he's calling crease, but I think he's wrong on that. If we get a chance to see a replay, that'd be nice.
So the goal disallowed with 14 seconds. Here's a stolen ball. And the shot went
replay
wide.
Of that last one, and watch. I think he was actually standing in the crease when the ball went in. So
or did he make contact with goaltender Marty O'Neill?
I think he actually stepped in the crease because he thought the shot was safe. So my apologies to Billy Fox this time, but I'm still watching him.
All right, keep your eye on him. Sounds a lot like your brother. Shot, good save made by Watson. Pat Coyle with the loose ball and looking up floor for a fast break. Now curls back as the Rock will make some changes. Coyle over the line. Here's Beltman. Rock with a pass in front. Giles and a good save. And O'Neill looking to make the fast break, but holds on to the ball.
Matt got very open on that play, and somebody lost his assignment on him, but Marty O'Neill made a nice save.
Mike Hazen. He won 4 Ontario University lacrosse championships. Most of the players with the Buffalo Bandits hail from this part of the world. Ontario, play a lot of lacrosse here in the summer.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Joe, most of these guys play in Canada in the summer, and most of them are Canadian, most of them from Ontario. And I think of the 15 starting runners, 14 of them played in Ontario or Canada last summer.
1:28 left and a horn.
That was the shot clock went there, and that's an indication that you're playing good defense when the shot clock buzzer goes in your own end, because teams are taught you don't have to get the ball back, you just have to contain a team for 30 seconds, Joe.
So the ball turns over to the Toronto Rock in a 3-3 tie. Goaltender Bob Watson. And now here's the Rock working it down low with 1:28 to go in the first quarter. Hurd trying to take it to the net, sends it back out to Williams. A shot blocked into the corner. Chris Gill with it. Gill with a wraparound attempt going through the crease, and as you mentioned, you can dive, you can leave your feet to get into the crease, but you've got to make sure your shot is taken before you land.
Exactly, as long as the ball's in the net before you hit the ground.
Tavares shot it wide. Turned over now for Terry Bullen. The Toronto native gets it ahead. This is Rod Squire. Pass to Giles. Hack and whack. Boy, that sport, that is aptly named right here. Giles trying to go tough to the net. Had it knocked away, and some good defensive coverage by Mike Meridian.
This is Matt Giles' first game in this league, and he's going to the net, and that's what they want him to do. He's here for his offensive skills. He's got a great shot, and he'll pop in a couple before the night's over.
I would suggest at 6'4" and about 245 is a pretty good idea why he can go to the net.
And that's after dropping about 30 pounds from the summer.
I hate when that happens. Summers will do that to you, won't they? 15 seconds left to go here in the first quarter.
Okay, guys, this is where Toronto's got the ball now. They'll probably pull their goalie here to get an extra man on to get a last shot. It's much like basketball. You want to get that last shot near the end, and they'll probably pull their goalie.
They've taken a timeout here, I believe, to organize just that.
Yeah.
Colin Doyle, we told you about being the Rookie of the Year in this league a year ago.
Yeah, Colin Doyle is a fantastic player, and his skill is, he's got a great shot, but he goes to the net with and without the ball. It's just like hockey. Here is Matt Giles again. Oh no, this is Chris Gill.
Yep, Chris Gill.
Beautiful play there. Dove for the net. Got a shot away before he landed. Gilly's a sniper. Chris Gill is a fantastic player as well. He's second leading scorer on the team last year with 31 goals.
From various walks of life, all of these players, and Colin Doyle is a student at Laurier. Here we go.
There's
10 seconds left.
A set play here. I'm not sure which one they're going to run here, but you watch, they're trying to set something up.
The shot was taken by Doyle. 1 second left, and time will run out. So an exciting first quarter of action at Maple Leaf Gardens, and the Toronto Rock, who fell behind 2-0, come back, and we're tied at 3.
Here.
Welcome back to Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. The Rock tied 3-3 with the Buffalo Bandits. Rory Graham with a new piece of equipment here because that's the old one. What happened?
Yeah, take a look at that. That was an earlier hit that I was saying was a good hit just before the referee sent the guy to the penalty box. And that's why guys wear masks in this league.
And that's why your nose looks the way it does now.
Yes, actually, that happened to my nose once this summer.
I thought it was just an impersonation of Mike Foligno. I didn't know what you were trying to do.
I was
there.
looking much worse than Foligno.
All right. Here are the Bandits with the ball. Doudridge got it into the goal crease area, but Bob Watson is quick to cover in the transition game. Springs Rod Squire. Looking in front, the pass was too high for Matt Giles, and that's saying something because with the racket and 6 feet 4 inches, you got to get it up pretty high for him to miss it. Veltman, Squires, loose ball. Graham, and into the crease it goes, controlled by Marty O'Neill. Tavares gets it ahead as we look at the first quarter stats.
Toronto actually, when I said it took about 5 minutes to get their first shot, well, they sure got a lot of shots after that. So Toronto was dominating on the shots. They're doing well. Loose balls, they're dominating too. So if Toronto can keep that up, things will start to turn their way.
Pat Coyle losing the ball as it's turned over, and here is John Tavares. He heads to the bench in an exchange. A 3-3 tie. Panos, and the goal scored by Mike Meridian. So the Buffalo Bandits grab the lead as rookie Mike Meridian scores here tonight. His first of the season.
Watch Meridian come around. A nice pick there. He uses that pick and just takes a shot. That was a beautiful pick. I'm not sure which guy it was, but Meridian used it. And actually, Joe, I hate to correct you, but he's not a rookie. He's been in this league off and on for about 4 or 5 years, and he looked like a veteran out there.
A free agent acquisition, maybe I should have said this year.
That's it.
The Bandits leading 4-3. Fannell waiting for teammates to change.
The defenders on Toronto will talk about that pick when they go to the bench and correct it next time. You got to switch on it or communicate the pick when it comes a little bit earlier.
Panos. Back into the front for Brian Silcott. Loose ball and a chance and a goal. John Rosa. As things break down in front of the Toronto Rock net, and Rosa builds a 5-3 lead.
That was a tough one because there was only about 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Toronto was playing good defense, and it was a loose ball. Actually, somebody left their man to try to get that loose ball. When Buffalo picked it up, Johnny Rosa was left open in front of the net, and I am positive that Les Bartley will want to have a discussion on that goal.
Some infringement on the face-off, so a Toronto ball. Keenan. Now to Williams. Sean Williams coming out. Doesn't shoot it, gets a bit of a pick, and now drives it at the net, and a good save by Marty O'Neill. Another loose ball gobbled up by, well, no one right now is heard, and Hazen battle for it. The battle continues, and the ball is finally grabbed by Rosa.
I guess I should explain that rule too, Joe. You're allowed to hit anyone within 5 feet of the ball so long as it's not from behind. That's why you saw that little scrum in the corner there. It looked like nobody was interested in the ball.
So a lot of times on a loose ball, if you have some size, you take the man and let the ball go to someone else.
Exactly. Generally, the big guys play that way. The big guys should go hit the man. Let your quicker, smaller guys get to come in for the ball.
Bowen. For the Toronto Rock. They're wearing the white jerseys. Change of players again as Kim Squire sets things up in the Buffalo end. A hit there as Doyle went cartwheeling to the floor, and there's going to be a penalty here to Buffalo. Squire with a shot wide. Rebound controlled. Beltman a shot in front of the net. They bounce it wide of the goal, and knocked down is Colin Doyle, and the net is moved, and so the penalty will come here from referee Bill Fox.
That was actually Travis Kilgore was trying to defend a pick there, and he got a little over aggressive on that. We can't really see it well from that angle, but he was trying to push. Colin Doyle was trying to set a pick on Squires, and Travis was trying to push him out of the way, and he pushed a little too hard. For the referees like, here's a better angle coming up. Watch that pick set up. Travis did the right thing, but maybe pushed a little bit hard, or maybe Colin was acting a little bit. Sometimes that's a penalty, sometimes it's not.
Here's Doyle. Power play for Toronto. Keenan trying to move inside, sets back up to Doyle. Keenan with it again, chance to shoot. And the shoulder of O'Neill got in the way there.
That was a nice shot by Derek.
Doyle behind the back. Keenan scores! Over the shoulder and into the twine tent, and it is a 5-4 game.
Derek Keenan. Here you're going to see the goal here. Keenan's second shot within about 10 seconds, and he does what he has been doing for years. Here's another angle on this goal. Keenan picked the top right corner. Derek Keenan has been retired from competitive lacrosse for about 4 years, and he is one of the all-time top scorers in Canadian lacrosse, and he was also a fantastic player in this league, playing for Buffalo in his old career.
Two world championship teams with Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken.
He still holds the record for most assists in a game. He scored 10 assists in one game, and he's still trying to get his legs back, and hopefully that's an indication that he's got his shot back.
This is Rod Squire, the Brantford native, handing off and heading to the bench.
Just to get back to Keenan quickly, if Keenan can be 80% of the player he once was, he'll be better than almost everybody out here. He was a fantastic player. He's like a Mark Messier.
Giles trying to find man in front. Doyle taking it to the net, and it is knocked away by O'Neill.
That's what I was saying about Doyle earlier. Doyle loves to go to the net, and he's got that long reach that he can fool a goalie in the last second. He reaches over and tries to score around him.
Here's Tavares working inside. John Tavares a shot, and that bounced wide, but a rebound collected by Silcott.
So far, Toronto's done a pretty good job containing Tavares.
This is Panos, loose ball, controlled by Beltman. And Jimmy Beltman will move it up the floor as Squire takes his pass. And again, the change of players from offense to defense. It is a very continuous in one door, out the other door. Hurd. Down low and a shot wide of the net taken by Dan Stroop. Another loose ball controlled by Toronto. Stroop with it. Cradling it for Keenan. Trying to take it to the net, and the shot clock, I think, has run out, and so it will be turned over to Buffalo when we return. The Buffalo Bandits 5, the Toronto Rock 4. Our next telecast coming up a week from tonight when the Rochester Nighthawks arrive here at Maple Leaf Gardens for a 7 o'clock start. Why not come down and join us at the Gardens? And there's the Rock Ticket Hotline, 416-872-5000, and you can get involved in all of the Toronto Rock home games right here at Maple Leaf Gardens as Les Bartley looks on.
I'm going to show this goal by John Rosa, and Les Bartley will be angry about this one, and I'll tell you why. There's a fight for a loose ball, and I guess this guy here, I can't see who it is, left his man there to help out for the loose ball. And the general rule that Les Bartley wants the team to play, but don't outnumber a guy for a loose ball in your own end, because it means you left somebody open. So I'm sure that was discussed on the bench.
I think that was Chris Gill. Kind of jumped in there. Here's a chance in on goal. And it is Matt Giles with the goal to tie this game at 5. The student at George Brown University and Matt Giles of Toronto has tied it.
The rookie Matt Giles, this is his first game in this league. He never played last week, and like I was talking about earlier, he's a big, strong guy, and he's going to the net.
Played with the Peterborough Lakers of the OLL.
And if he continues to go to the net like that, he'll be in the lineup for many games to come, too.
Buffalo Bandits with the ball. Fannel now for Cordingley. Cordingley being dragged down, and a penalty will come here.
You see Troy Cordingley's acting abilities on that one. He was held up maybe a bit, but he made sure the referees didn't miss it. Terry
Bullen has gone to the penalty box.
There you go, Troy's making sure. That's a good check by Terry. Maybe a little bit of a hold, but Troy made sure that the referees didn't miss it.
Good look at Terry Bullen and all of his pupils at Danforth Technical Institute. Will be interested in seeing how their teacher is doing here tonight.
This is Buffalo's first power play of the game, and it'll be interesting to see how Toronto plays with Tavares out there.
Ball on the back of the mesh, turned over to Toronto, and so trying to kill off 30 seconds of time here. A long ball is turned over to Buffalo, and 1.5 minutes to go in the power play. Neil Dudridge.
Now watch Toronto, the way they defend it. They don't have your standard box. They're cheating a little bit to Tavares' side. Right over here, and it looks like Buffalo may have adjusted a little bit, but Jimmy Veltman there. He's going to play in between these two guys here and here, and let the other guys make sure that Tavares doesn't get any free shots.
Into the crease, controlled by Bob Watson. And the long pass down goes right past goaltender O'Neill. A loose ball behind, and Tavares is there. Transition game set ahead for Troy Cordingley. Cordingley holding. Inside shot taken by Darius Kilgore, and a good save by Watson.
John Tavares just changed the position he played in the power play, and I'll talk about that in a while.
Right.
John's quick to react to how the defense plays him.
24 seconds left in this power play for the Bandits. Kilgore. This is Rich Kilgore.
Johnny Tavares saw how Toronto was cheating up on him high, so he decided to play down in the crease.
Shot off the post. Darius Kilgore trying to retrieve it, and it's going to go down to goaltender O'Neill. The goaltender can go anywhere on the floor he wants.
Yes, he can. A goaltender can score a goal, and it happens in lacrosse more often than you think.
This is Darius Kilgore, and a whistle. And turned over to Toronto.
Toronto's first man short situation, they did a very good job.
Legal pick on the leg.
Legal pick. Jim Veltman with the ball, and again, the Toronto Rock in a 5-5 tie here with Buffalo. We're in second quarter action.
Teams have settled into pretty strong defense now.
Keenan and Williams exchanging the ball. Williams with a chance, and he scores! Nothing but rope there for Sean Williams, and the Toronto Rock have their first lead of the game.
Second-year player Sean Williams. He's one of the top scorers in Brooklyn every summer. He came around to pick on that one and used his best weapon, his shot. And Sean's got a fantastic shot.
So twice coming back to tie, the Toronto Rock have now taken the lead with 3 straight goals. Keenan Giles, and that one from Sean Williams, the Scarborough native.
First lead in the game for Toronto.
Sean was second in scoring in the OLA in '98. A 24-year-old native of Scarborough.
Yeah, the Toronto really needs Sean scoring goals to have some success.
Shot gets in behind Bob Watson. And the Bandits waste little time in tying this game. Dean Ciccone
took advantage of a bit of a screen there, and I don't think Bobby Watson really saw the whole thing. There's a pile of guys right here, and Dean just shot through them.
Here's another look at it.
Watch this angle. Pile of guys. In fact, this one guy here threw a good pick, pushing the defenders into each other, and Dean just shot through the screen.
So this lead has seesawed around a little bit. We're now tied at 6s. With 5.5 minutes to play in the first half. Kilgore, Travis, being checked by Dan Ladouceur. Now in front of the net for Rich Kilgore, down low, and that's stopped. Loose ball turned over to Toronto. Gill takes a hack in the back of the head and sends it back to his goaltender, Bob Watson.
A beautiful stick fake by Rich Kilgore there.
This is Chris Gill. Taking it to the net. Dragged down, and a penalty coming here from referee Fox.
Just like hockey, Joe, good things happen when you go to the net. And Chris Gill just got a penalty called.
We've got a break in the action of Game 1 at home for the Toronto Rock at Maple Leaf Gardens, tied at 6s. Brian Shanahan, you said one of the keys was to keep John Tavares from having a big night. The Rock have done that.
So far, they're doing a great job on him. I mean, you don't have to shut him out, but they'll be glad to take it. But it's still early yet. John Tavares, only takes a moment for him to put in a few.
5th power play of the game for the Rock. Doyle forced out there by Neil Dudridge. Keenan looking for a hole, but off the arm of O'Neill. He made a good play there. Hurd with the loose ball retrieved. Minute 34 to go on the power play.
Doyle back on the top of the power play, and Keenan in the shooter spot at work last time.
Loose ball grabbed off by Dudridge, who's been all over the floor here tonight.
So Neil Dodridge is the fastest guy in Buffalo in the time trials this year. He's a veteran player in this league, been in the league about 8 years.
Buffalo killing off time here as they are a man short. Dodridge along the near boards, dropping it off.
Another interesting thing about Neil Dodridge is he's the only player in the world to have won 6-man cups in 6 years.
You notice the Rock running right by Troy Cordingley because they knew that the shot clock was running out. They were hoping they might get a fast break going here. Here's what we were looking at right here. Doyle knows the clock's run out.
Exactly. He's just taken off because he knows we're getting the ball right back. Toronto's getting the ball right back, so he's just taken off up the floor using that shot clock.
Into the goal crease area, smothered by O'Neill. And the Rock power play now gets a turnover. Doyle.
Toronto was applying a bit of a press there, and it worked to their advantage.
Doyle, Williams, Veltman now. Veltman working in with the shot, scores! And Feld in front of the net with a pretty good hit was Colin Doyle, but Veltman gives the Rock the lead 7-6.
Now watch on this replay. Colin Doyle stepped right in front of the net as Jimmy Veltman shot, and that's why this one went in. Okay, Colin Doyle runs in front of the net. Screen to goalie. Here's a better angle of it. Calling for the pass and screening the goalie.
And pay for it.
He did.
So Jimmy Veltman has his first of the game and his second of the season for the Toronto Rock. And the Rock on a 7-6 lead. Accordingly, block, loose ball battle here is controlled by Toronto. Veltman getting it from Graham on a nice play by Rory Graham to contain his man.
Very nice play, containing his man, getting the loose ball.
Williams. Doyle. Good arm save made by O'Neill.
There's Colin going to the net again.
And another loose ball controlled by Toronto. They've been very aggressive on the loose ball. This is Giles, and a shot goes wide. Another loose ball is corralled by the Rock, and Kim Squire brings it back.
After the first 5 minutes of the first quarter, Toronto's been starting to dominate the loose balls.
Williams and Doyle. Doyle controlling the ball and avoiding the hits. A nice pass in front, and knocked down in front was Kim Squire. Another loose ball for Toronto. Williams a shot, and that is blocked by O'Neill.
The very important thing about getting these loose balls is this Buffalo defense hasn't been able to get off the floor in a long time.
Now we got a good look there at Kim Squire giving goaltender Marty O'Neill a bit of a rap as he came out of the crease. Once he's out, Brian, he is fair game technically.
It's a fuzzy rule this year. They've changed the rule to say you're not fair game, but we're not really sure how they're going to call that one.
Maybe as far as running him, but as far as making contact with him.
And I think that's what they're trying to do.
There is Squire as we look at Doyle on offense, and then quickly to the bench. Now you see the line. Oh, we didn't see it there, but we'll get a look at that when we can. That line right outside the two benches that affords the opportunity for the change to be made. Here's another loose ball. Chance inside. Scores! Dan Stroop. And the Rock have a 2-goal lead.
Beautiful little scoop pass by, I think it was Chris Gill, picked up the loose ball and just gave a little scoop there.
A scoop for Stroop, and he makes the best of it.
Now, Chris Gill gets knocked. The ball comes loose here. Oh, I guess it never did come loose, but he just gave a nice scoop. Here's another angle here. Yes, he scooped it up there. Nowhere to go.
Second of the game for Dan Stroop. Third of the season.
And Dan Stroop didn't have a career year last year in this league, and so far I think he's got 4 goals this season. He's playing fantastic.
Squire heading to the bench after making the pass to Veltman. Another shot is high. Veltman with the rebound.
Delayed penalty coming up here. Toronto, if they all realize it, they get the goalie.
Yeah, they do have him out. A shot and a good, I almost said skate save, but a great foot block by Marty O'Neill.
And Toronto actually got away with one there. They put the extra man on while Bobby Watson was still about 50 feet away from the bench.
Here's another power play coming for Toronto. Unofficially, I believe it is Toronto's 6th of the game.
Yeah, Toronto's got John Tavares in the penalty box, and there's no better situation than that. Keeping their best player off the floor and giving your team a power play.
Second penalty Tavares has taken tonight.
I'm right here.
Jimmy Veltman back on top.
Veltman will shoot it, and a nice save made by O'Neill, and that deflects way up into the red seats here in the south end of the Garden. 27.2 seconds remaining in the half, and a timeout has been taken here by Toronto Rock coach Les Bartley.
This is it's a key points in lacrosse, I guess like hockey too, is both teams, you never want another team to score on you in the last minute of a quarter or period or the first minute. So if Toronto gets their play set here, get a last shot, scores a goal, they're going to go back to the dressing room in a good frame of mind.
Ed Como discussing strategy here, the assistant coach.
And Eddie Como, he's been around lacrosse for a long time. In his playing days, he had fantastic hands around the net. He's not fleet of foot, but he had the quickest hands, and he's a very smart lacrosse player.
Johnny Meridian, the general manager. Dave Murray is the trainer, and Tim Large, the equipment man. He was busy getting that mask exchanged in a big hurry. You're right.
Yeah.
So here we are with 27.2 seconds remaining in the first half.
Toronto will try to move the ball around. They're going to want to get their shot with just 4 or 5 seconds left.
Stroop exchanging the ball here with Russ Hurd. Now back to Doyle, and over here Keenan. Doyle is up top.
They're killing the first 15 seconds or so. They want to get their play at the end so that Buffalo doesn't get any fast breaks.
Keenan down low, loose ball, Hurd, but time running out quickly. 6 seconds left. Buffalo will control, and a whistle here.
I think Buffalo actually
maybe a
called
timeout.
Yep,
with 2.8 seconds left. And this will give them an opportunity to kill off the remaining time.
And that's the reason Toronto wanted to wait till there was just a few seconds left before they made their play to the net, because this won't hurt Toronto with just 2 seconds left. But they knew that as soon as Buffalo got the ball, they'd either go for a fast break or timeout.
Make it 4 seconds on the clock?
They're going to reset the clock here maybe to 4 seconds. The Baltimore Thunder lead the NLL standings with 3 straight wins, including a 21-10 win over the Toronto Rock, and the Rock had a horrific time just getting there.
Oh, just
right in the middle of those snowstorms.
I know nobody likes to use it as an excuse, but the Toronto team didn't arrive to Baltimore till just before game time, and it couldn't have helped, but I don't think they're using that as an excuse, but you don't want that for your first game.
The ball down in the Buffalo zone.
Jimmy Veltman's just going to make sure they don't get the ball up the floor easily.
And it will be intercepted as time runs out.
Buffalo's basically just trying for a Hail Mary there.
So an exciting first half of play and a very close game. Have the Rock going to the intermission leading by 2.
Yeah, I think they got over their early game jitters, and I think that's what it was. And Coach Bartley's got to be pretty happy with the way they turned things around.
We're going to go downstairs, and Paul Hendrick has Colin Doyle.
All right, Joe and Brian, thank you very much. One of the 8 goals for the Toronto Rock here in the first half. John Tavares is off the board, Darius Kilgore as well, but this Buffalo team has plenty of depth.
They got lots left in there, I'll tell you that right now. It's too early to be saying they're off the board, so our defense is doing a great job back there keeping those guys off the board, so they keep doing that up, we're going to win this game.
Colin, offensively, what have you been able to do to stretch out that Buffalo defense and get a crack at Marty O'Neill?
I think it's been a lot of hard work. We're getting to the balls first, and the guys are working on the picks and rolls. They're working hard, and their defense is playing a lot of lacrosse right now. They're having trouble keeping up with us.
Great playing with these fans, 8,000 to 10,000, and you guys are playing well.
Oh, I love it. I hope we can keep it up for them. We're going to win this game for the fans.
All right, Colin Doyle of the Toronto Rock, and we'll be profiling him in a matter of moments on what's cooking with the Rock. And after one half of play, Toronto 8 and Buffalo 6, you're watching National League Lacrosse. Professional lacrosse is back at Maple Leaf Gardens for the first time in nearly 2 decades, and a successful start so far for the Toronto Rock. 8-6 our score after 30 minutes of play. Colin Doyle, who we just spoke to with the distinction of having scored the first goal for the Toronto Rock in Maple Leaf Gardens history, affectionately known by his teammates as Popeye. He doesn't play for the spinach, but for the love of the game.
I went to Europe with a friend of mine, thinking I was going to be there for a while. I kept calling home to see if there's a chance of me playing in this league, because I didn't know yet. Once I found out that the opportunity was for me to play in Hamilton, then I came home about a month and a couple of weeks after. So had it not been for that, I may still be over there, but who knows. My strengths as a player are probably that I'm creative with the ball. I'm smart. I've been around the game long enough that I can realize things and pick things up as the game goes on. I'll learn a lot about the game, and I have a nice touch around the net. I don't even know where it came from. Somebody called me it for the commercial, and it's beginning to stuck. All my buddies are starting to call me that, so
I mean, feel free to call me whatever you want, but if that's what they want me to call it, that's what you can call me. Hollywood, yeah, I like the name Hollywood, but they say somebody in the league already has it, so I don't care what people call me. A little bit of an eye-opener, I guess. I think a lot of the guys don't remember. It's been so long since we played together that they forgot what it was like almost, and I think we got probably the worst game that we could ever played out of our system. I think a lot of the players learned something from it, and we'll just be better, that much better this week. Defensively, you play most of the defense, and they're 5 of the best in the business. They don't come much tougher than that. Our goaltending is unbelievable. We've got guys up front who can put the ball in the net, a lot of guys who can put the ball in the net. I mean, we could have 15 guys score a goal a game, and that's quite possible. So it's not vicious. It's a rough sport. There's no doubt about that. It'll toughen you up. But I think for the most part, it's a myth that a lot of people say lacrosse is a really dirty game, which is definitely the wrong word, because there's more respect amongst players in lacrosse than any other sport that I've ever played. To me, I'd almost say it's somewhat of my religion. I look forward to playing lacrosse so much. It's just so exciting for me that I can play in front of people and have other people be impressed with what I can do. You play this game because you love it. You don't play it for the money or any other reason. You play it because you love it.
And welcome back. The Toronto Rock leading the visiting Buffalo Bandits at halftime by a score of 8-6. We are live inside the Toronto Rock dressing room, and a pleasure as always to introduce the captain of the Toronto Rock, Jim "Scoop" Veltman. What a seesaw first half it was. Why the momentum changes back and forth as we saw at least twice in that first half, Jim?
Well, I think we're just exchanging good shots from each other, and right now I think they're running out of steam. So then I think that's one of our strengths is our legs, so they seem to run out of steam and we seem to come back on.
Familiarity breeds contempt. Many of these players on this team have played for that team. You know each other rather well, and it's been a chippy contest.
Yeah, there's lots of little talks out there and little games within the game, and that's always going to happen in intensity games like this.
How were things defensively, at least to get this game started? They were able to penetrate the defense and jump out to a quick 3-0 lead. Perhaps a case of butterflies for the Rock before this big crowd.
Well, a case of butterflies. I think everybody knows who's in the stands for themselves, but more so we just sat back, took a time out, and talked about it, and we closed up our defense a little bit and try not to give them the easy shots. We're trying to make them shoot from outside.
This is a team blessed with youth, perhaps the majority with no more than 2 or 3 years experience. You and Derek Keenan, the elder statesmen on this team, at least have a goal in this first half, and that's just something for the senior citizens of this game of lacrosse.
Yeah, well, maybe experience is speaking for itself, so hopefully that's an advantage for us.
Thank you, Jim. All the best in the second half. It's been a lot of fun so far.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Jim Veltman live inside the Toronto Rock locker room. Let's go upstairs to Joe Bowen and Brian Shanahan.
Thanks very much, Paul. Well, at the beginning of the game, we talked about the importance of one thing, and that was trying to make sure that John Tavares didn't have one of his big games against the Toronto Rock. Well, they've been outstanding in the coverage of the premier player for the Buffalo Bandits.
So far, they've been fantastic on that job. That's one of the keys. Make sure he doesn't have a big game. He's only got 1 assist so far, so you can't do any better than that. Another. Here, watch Johnny here, there, watch the defense come on him. Rod Squire's been covering him, and he's doing a good job, but it's not just Roddy, it's the guys behind that are backing him up. Roddy's not taking his eyes off of him.
A dangerous player at any time, and certainly I would think, as far as Brian is concerned, now in the second half they've got to keep that up, because as you mentioned, this guy can explode at any time.
Exactly. Toronto's got to continue doing exactly what they have been doing. We talked about keys to their success. One of them was keeping Johnny Tavares from having a huge game. The other ones was keeping Buffalo off the power play. Buffalo's only had 1 power play, and one of the other keys was Toronto's power play has to be 60%. Well, they're 3 for 5, so they're exactly 60%. So far, Toronto's doing what they wanted to do after, they had the jitters at the beginning of the game, but they've really rebounded, and they've dominated on loose balls as well, and that's important.
All right, so we're looking forward to the second half as the Buffalo Bandits trail the Toronto Rock in the first home game for the Rock here at the Gardens, 8-6. Halftime stats, Brian, just about everything the way Toronto would hope that the first half would have gone.
Exactly, and Toronto's, look at the shots, 38-18, and that's fantastic for Toronto. The other important stat here is the loose balls. Toronto's dominating that, and face-offs are pretty well even, but loose balls is a key.
Looking before the game, Brian suggested this is what Toronto had to do. I'd say they've pretty well done everything that they wanted.
Exactly, and they just have to keep doing what they have been doing. Like I said, Buffalo's only had one power play. The transition game, Buffalo started off with a strong transition, but Toronto adjusted quickly. You'll see the keys for Buffalo here. We're going to show the keys for Buffalo. Now, I don't know if they've neutralized Jimmy Veltman. I don't have his stats on loose balls, but they sure haven't neutralized the Toronto team, because Toronto's been dominating on the loose balls. I think it was 34-25. I wouldn't say that Marty's had a weak game, but I don't think he's had an exceptional game either. But other than that, they've more or less done what they've tried to do, except the loose balls.
Colin Doyle has scored once. Russ Hurd has not scored.
Yeah, so I guess maybe that was the wrong strategy, taking those two off. There's other guys that popped the ball in the net.
Yep.
Stroop and Gill.
The Rock have really spread their scoring around a little bit. As we're underway with the second half, and we're glad you're along with us. As the Rock are on the power play to start the second half with 1:15 to go in it. Doldridge with a lead ball that was too far from Meridian. Now a loose ball scooped up and quickly to Bob Watson.
Good defense again, we were saying. First man take the body. Jimmy Veltman came in and got the ball.
Watson waited for his team to change, and now the power play continues. Hurd. Doyle. Into the corner. Keenan. Doyle and Keenan looking for a hole. Hurd to Doyle. He didn't shoot it. Loose ball on a long pass of misfired, and Hazen now for Buffalo bringing it out. He'll give it to his goaltender, Marty O'Neill. Bad pass there that is gobbled up by the Toronto Rock.
This will be the last 30 seconds in the power play. We'll see. Buffalo look like they're playing that pretty aggressive there. They don't want to give Toronto the outside shot, so we'll see what happens here.
The Rock 3 for 5 on the power play in the first half. Good save made by O'Neill there on a low ball that was delivered by Sean Williams. 4 seconds left in the penalty. The Rock will get the ball, but not much time to work with the power play.
They'll just regroup and put on the regular line now.
Colin Doyle. Sean Williams working in front. Doyle will work the perimeter. You can see the basketball aspect of the game with the number of picks and set plays that there are, because you have such good control of the ball, obviously, with the racket.
Exactly. You can't just knock a ball loose with an easy poke check like in hockey. It's almost like two games are going on, Joe. You got the right-handed shooters and the left-handed shooters playing on opposite sides of the floor facing the goalie, and there's two games going on, with the ball and away from the ball, picks and rolls. Now watch here, you see it, they're playing a two-man game.
And a good pick made there on a play by Chris Panos.
And it was good backup by Lattiser there.
And we get a little rough housing down in the corner in behind goaltender Bob Watson. There really hasn't been a lot of chippiness yet, but there has been a lot of action.
Now watch, we're going to get a replay on this, and watch, the key here is Lattiser coming over to help, because you're going to see Lattiser in the last second came over, and he sort of, you don't really see it there, but he cut off Johnny Tavares so Johnny couldn't go to the net. And Johnny's getting a little frustrated.
Panos made a good pick. In fact, he took two Toronto Rock players out.
Exactly.
And the communication is so important.
It was a beautiful pick that Terry Bullen couldn't keep up with John Tavares because the pick was in the way, and Lattiser recognized that and came.
Raleigh 515.
Here we'll listen to the refs.
Boyle, 2 minutes, Russ. We're going down there to start. Let's go.
Crew chief is Bill Fox and Colin Doyle, along with Tavares getting the penalties.
Now Toronto will be quite happy to send anybody in the penalty box with John Tavares.
That is his third penalty.
Yes, it is. And John Tavares takes a lot of penalties too. I call him the Wayne Gretzky of lacrosse, but unlike Gretzky,
Yeah, not quite that way.
yeah, he's more like Doug Gilmour that way. In fact, Johnny would prefer to be called the Doug Gilmour because he tries to play his kind of style.
Hazen with the ball. An 8-6 Toronto lead. Santos.
Now here you see again, It's like two games going on both sides of the offensive end.
Ball corralled by Bob Watson off the end, and it was slapped out while he was inside the crease. Here's a look at the picks that we're talking about, Brian.
Now watch, we're going to show some replays. There's a nice pick up high, and he came around, didn't get the best shot away. I think he intended to pass that one, but constantly guys are setting picks, trying to create traffic for the defender.
Gill taken to the net and knocked down. And is this another penalty?
If it is,
looks like. Yep.
If it is, it shouldn't be.
Fox is coming over here, and it looks like he has assessed a penalty against the Bandits.
Okay, let's see what they called on this one. Well, that, you know,
I guess.
I think that's what they're calling, but Doyle didn't have the ball. It's rare that they'll call a penalty like that on a guy who doesn't have the ball, but Toronto will gladly take the power play.
Sixth power play of the game for the Rock. Hurd.
Toronto's made an adjustment. Instead of Doyle playing up high, he's playing down in the middle now. They're trying to...
Dan Stroop with the shot. He paid for it as he is slow to get up after being felled in front of the goal. Now a turnover. Stroop scores! The hat-trick goal right there from Dan Stroop. Nothing like a power play to make you feel better in a big hurry, and he looked like he was slow to get up, but once the ball turned over, he started feeling pretty well, and Doyle makes a great play to him.
Watch this interception by Doyle. This is a broken play, but watch Doyle pick up, intercepted that pass. A bit of a lazy pass there, and Doyle picks it up, and Stroop made about 5 fakes here before he put it in.
So a nice goal by Stroop, his third of the game, and the new Westminster, BC native, who is a firefighter by trade in Vancouver, has lit a fire under the offense of the Toronto Rock.
Stroop is off to a great start this season.
Goodrich. Here's Spannel being slashed. Goodrich's shot was wide, and the rebound is rolling down the floor to the Bandit zone.
Now that's a sign of good defense by Toronto. When Buffalo's taking shots from that far out, it's a bit of a sign of desperation there. They're feeling they can't penetrate, and Toronto will let them shoot from there all game.
Good pass by Veltman. Doyle sends it in, and a good try along the right at the goal on a good pass to Kim Squire, and he couldn't bounce it in behind Marty O'Neill. 2 good passes, though, springing him for a great chance. Here the Rock back into the attack. Giles down to Hurd, Russ Hurd. 6'4" and 215, lots of size there, and Hurd gets knocked to the floor. Ball turned over again to Toronto. And the Rock have been getting...
This is a point in the game where everything seems to be going their way, but Lacrosse is a game of shifts of momentum, so they just got to keep playing their game and try to pounce on Buffalo as much as they can while they're feeling a little bit insecure.
Sean Williams trying to move in, dishes off to Keenan. Derek Keenan to the far side. Behind the back pass for Williams. Behind the back shot! It had a little bit of roll to it, but not enough to cause Marty O'Neill any more problems than just simply sitting down on it. 9 minutes and 52 seconds left to play in the third quarter, and we've got a break in the action, and there's been plenty of it here at the Gardens as the Toronto Rock lead 9-6.
It's 9-6 for Toronto, and that's one of the reasons why. Dan Stroop, watch Dan Stroop. Here's one of his goals in the last quarter. Diving through the crease area. Here's his most recent goal on a nice pass from Doyle. About 4 or 5 fakes before he put it in. Dan Stroop is off to a great start this season. Last year, Dan Stroop, by his own standards, had a poor season, and he's off to a fantastic start this year. And I'm sure Buffalo's keys were to take Hurd and Doyle off, but I don't think they were counting on Stroop to score 3 goals at this point in the game.
Here's Matt Giles. controlling the ball. Giles works in front. Can he get a shot? No, it's knocked off his racket, but a loose ball, and Colin Doyle gets some assistance there, but lost it. Boy, then he got boarded. Slash, hack, whack. The ball goes free and a whistle, and it's turned over to the Bandits.
Good work on the loose ball there.
Good work on the loose ball, and a few welts to worry about tomorrow.
Oh, yes. And I think, Joe, you better watch it. If you call it a racket one more time, I might have to give you a welt.
Oh, all right. Here's Squire having difficulty with it. Ciccone got it free, and a shot off the goal post.
We might have to start talking about hockey rackets.
There you go. Santos. Hazen. And he got a little bit of the lacrosse stick across the mouth on the wraparound. Now here's a chance for Rory Graham in a fast break trying to engineer it. Got it ahead. And now they'll slow it down and set it up. The whistle is going to turn it over. A slash here, and a penalty is coming. Terry Bullen is going to the penalty box.
Down here. Bullen 97-44, Buffalo. Ciccone, both 2 minutes slash, nothing on the clock.
There's the penalty coming there. The second power play of the game for Buffalo. Going to get a look at this again. Here it is, Brian.
Now, we don't always notice players like this because Pat Coyle does such a good job, but there he is applying pressure. Sometimes the defensive guys aren't noticed because they're doing such a good job. Their guys don't get the ball, but Pat Coyle is one of the best in the business.
Ciccone and Bullen both getting penalties, so it is coincident penalties and not a Buffalo power play. Both for slashing. Doldridge, a shot, scores! Nice run there, and Neil Doldridge makes it a 9-7 game.
Neil is trying to get his face into the Toronto's guys' faces right now, and he could taunt players.
His first of the game for Buffalo. And it is a 9-7 score here in the third quarter. Doldridge with his fourth of the year.
This is just a good shot by Neil catching Toronto on a change, and Ladouceur hit him anyhow, and that's what Toronto wants. They weren't doing that enough in Baltimore. Hit them even if they score a goal, make them feel it, and although it doesn't hurt as much when you score.
Never does.
No.
Neil Doldridge bent over a little bit, hoping to get a little oxygen going here too. And behind that bench area, along with Les Wakeling, Ted Sawicki, and Ron Roy are the assistant coaches of the Buffalo Bandits. As we get the face-off at mid-floor. The loose ball will be controlled by Marty O'Neill, the goaltender. 34-year-old veteran getting it ahead and bouncing it down into mid-floor. Now a chance here as the Bandits will change it again. Tavares. A penalty coming up here against Toronto. And the shot taken, it was not a good one by Tavares, easily handled by Watson, and we'll listen to Bill Fox.
Toronto number 2, Coyle, 2 minutes, illegal check. Late hit, knocked him in the box, required.
Here comes another look at this penalty. I don't know what that was. If that was the penalty, I'm really surprised. That might just be, it looks to me like sometimes the referees want to keep the game close. I hope that's not what that was.
Tavares with a goal mouth pass, but he couldn't convert, but it is turned over to the Toronto Rock.
And that was because Darius Kilgore was checking somebody in the crease. When you have possession of the ball in the crease, I think the player is just like a goalie. You can't check it when the ball's in the stick.
Oh, and a bad pass, and Tavares has it.
That's a rare pass from Jimmy Veltman. Doesn't make many bad passes, and that's partly attributed to Tavares' skill to intercept that one.
Accordingly, Kilgore, the shot blocked, loose ball,
beautiful
scooped
play.
up, great play made there, and now taking it back up the court, Rod Squire. Squire one-on-one, and now trying to kill off some time.
Rodley wisely turned back. If the fast break is there, you take it, but if it's a one-on-one, you're wise to turn back and kill off some penalty time.
Veltman.
Beautiful play by Rod.
They are 2 men short. So this is an important aspect right here. Squire taking it to the net, and it's turned over, and here are the Bandits with a two-man advantage now. Here is Fennell. He'll head to the bench as he dishes it off to Rich Kilgore. Kilgore and Darius Kilgore. Darius Kilgore with the ball, and the shot, and it went wide. Tavares couldn't get the rebound, but gets it in tight, and shot wide. Scooped up by Veltman. 16 seconds left in the first penalty. Veltman for Stroop. Stroop will hold the ball. 7 seconds left in the penalty.
Toronto is going to try to kill this last few seconds of this first penalty.
Colin Doyle does. Ladouceur sprinting to the bench, and now down 1 with 20 seconds left. So the first two-man advantage may be going for naught here as far as Buffalo is concerned. Doyle with a shot, and that went wide, and Doyle down, but is all right, back up on his feet. And a whistle here, and I think we have another penalty, do we? No?
Yes, we do. I think Buffalo's getting the penalty here, and that was a fantastic kill by Toronto.
Terry Bullen and Dean Ciccone allowed to escape the penalty box after their coincident penalties were up, and there is Rich Kilgore going to the penalty box.
Now, in lacrosse, a power play, they score a lot more often on power plays than you do in hockey, 60%. But a 5-on-3, you score about 80%. And watch that interception by Squire there, and then fighting for the loose ball. That's a fantastic play. Anytime you can kill off a 5-on-3, you're doing a great job. And part of the reason is Toronto's effort on the loose balls, Rod Squire and Jimmy Veltman.
Pat Coyle has escaped the penalty box, and the Rock on their 7th power play. A shot wide. Loose ball controlled. Hurd in front of the goal.
Keenan's going to have to take some shots here because Buffalo's backing in too far. He's got to test it.
There's the shot. It went wide, and the loose ball is controlled by Doddridge. Neil Doddridge running it up floor. I got it! A pass in and a backhand by Tavares, and he got felled from behind. And the ball will go to Buffalo as a result. 1:12 left in the power play.
You see the danger in Tavares. He can shoot from any position in the body. That one was a beautiful shot. And it's a risk to take when you're shorthanded. You know, take that shot.
Silkman tried to find his man Meridian in front of the goal. The Rock a little sloppy in getting that loose ball controlled, but now they do. Watson.
They got to get the ball over the line within 10 seconds or they're going to get called here.
They do get it over the line.
Just in time.
Russ Hurd setting it up on the perimeter. Now works in with a shot off the arm of O'Neill. The rebound back of the goal, but in fair ground. But now O'Neill has it and will get it ahead. Rosa. John Rosa down the floor. Rosa being chased. Holds the ball up. 20 seconds left in the power play. The pass in and a shot is whipped wide of the goal, taken by Cordingley. Loose ball turned over, and it will be Toronto ball.
With 10 seconds left, 13 seconds left in the power play, Toronto will probably try to come down and get one more good opportunity, one good shot.
And there is Colin Doyle directing some traffic on this power play. Hurd in front, Williams, Doyle, shot, block, scores! It went on off the seat of the pants of Marty O'Neill, who fell back into the goal and knocked it into his own net.
That was a great break for Toronto there. And that's exactly what they want to do. With 13 seconds left in the power play, just get one shot and hope for the best.
So it is 10-7.
Here you're going to see Colin Doyle just taking a shot. He knows they're near the end of the power play. And if we see this from another angle, you'll see Marty makes the original save. Here we go.
And off the seat of his pants and in. Colin Doyle scored the first goal here tonight for Toronto. His second of the season on a power play to get the Rock on the board, and now he makes it 10-7 with his second of the game.
This is a very important time for Toronto to play tough defense. Try to demoralize Buffalo a bit.
Some good defensive work there. A loose ball on the boards, controlled by Toronto. Scoop back to goaltender Watson, and now it'll be brought up the floor.
And there you see, that's a strategy used in this league all the time. Pass it.
There's a good look at the changes we were talking about at the bench, Brian.
Yes.
Or was it?
We'll talk about that in a second, but what just happened there was Toronto failed to get the ball over half within 10 seconds. A 10-second violation.
We're going to a commercial word with 3:08 to go in the third quarter. The Toronto Rock leading by 3. Impresario Bill Waters had hoped for a crowd around 9 or 10,000, and I think we have seen that here at Maple Leaf Gardens in the inaugural game at home for the Toronto Rock, and some of the youngsters enjoying themselves here at Maple Leaf Gardens with the Rock leading by a 10-7 score. The Rock next home game is next coming Friday night against the Rochester Nighthawks here at the Garden. Tavares. A behind-the-back pass that's snuck past both the intended receiver Chris Panos and the defender as it rolls down into Buffalo territory.
Penalty to Toronto coming up. I think it's Pat Coyle. Pat Coyle's one of the most punishing hitters in this league. We'll see what happened here.
It'll be the 5th power play of the game for Buffalo. Not sure that was the view of it, but he did.
I think they called it for checking into the boards or checking from behind, maybe. But Pat is one of the most feared defensive players in this league. He hits so hard. And Toronto will take the odd penalty from Pat as he keeps the other team honest.
5'11" and 210, 29 years of age from Toronto. Is Pat Coyle. Pass for Tavares. He paid a price going through the middle, and the ball is scooped into the now. Because of that price that he paid, a little redemption coming here on behalf of Troy Cordingley, who gets in on behalf of his star player, and John Tavares. Let's see what is coming here as far as penalties. And it looks like it's going to Jim Veltman.
That'll hurt Toronto. Jimmy is a very important part of the penalty killing. Let's watch the replay of this penalty. I assume the referee called that a bit of unnecessary roughness, although I think it's a cheap call.
Centered, 2-man disadvantage again for Toronto as it is corralled here by Chris Langdale. Langdale running down into the Buffalo zone, trying to kill off some much-needed time. Some good hitting here, and down goes Kim Squire, and he wonders why there wasn't a penalty there.
Once again, Toronto's short man has been very successful because of their work on the loose balls. Watch whenever the ball is hitting the ground, Toronto seems to be getting there first.
Tavares works into the side of the goal. Now here is Kilgore. Travis Kilgore loses the ball, and here's another great interception by Squire. Boy, he has been terrific killing penalties here,
That's
Brian.
the second time he's done that in the last few minutes, and he makes that look easy, but it's not.
Roddy Squire trying to protect the ball and paying for every foot he takes. And now another hit there by Dodridge. Roddy Squire with some great work, and the Brantford native in his second season, 5'8" and 150 pounds, and he was doing some great work protecting the ball.
Rod Squire, we're gonna show the interception he makes playing short here, and second time he's done. This is not easy. This rarely happens. I mean, especially with the great passers and shooters out there. He's done it twice in the last few minutes, and then he rags the ball for about 30 seconds here.
Count the number of times he gets hit.
Earlier on, this is earlier on. Oh, no, that wasn't Roddy there, but that was
Chris
Langdale working hard on it. So Toronto's been very successful. All their guys are playing great short man.
40 seconds remaining in the penalty to Pat Coyle that has them 2 men short. 53 seconds left in Jim Veltman's penalty. Dodridge gets a call here, though.
Neil Dodridge is he's got a skill of getting people angry at him. He's much like a Claude Lemieux in that respect.
Now they're trying to figure out whether it's a 5-on-3 or whether it is a 4-on-3, and I think the referees are going over to sort this out right now. Doldridge in the box. So is Squire, though, so coincident penalties apparently there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bit of confusion up here. They don't have it on the board.
Okay, we're starting down there. Starting back down there. The clock didn't run. We're starting back court still. Down there. Right there, right there, right there.
So now...
So a 5-on-3 is interesting.
Yeah, and it remains 5-on-3.
So it is 5-on-3. Now watch, this is Rich Kilgore. He won't even really step into the play. He'll let them play a 4-on-3, and he'll just play like a safety valve, stand back, and help scoop up loose balls.
And there's a good shot and a goal from Darius Kilgore.
Now the problem with taking penalties is you allow guys like Darius Kilgore to get into the game. You don't want to give him the taste of the ball. Darius has got a fantastic shot, and there's evidence of it.
1:11 to go in the third quarter, 44 seconds left in the penalty, and Darius Kilgore, an 8-year veteran, and as you mentioned, the Bandits' all-time penalty leader, gets the goal here to make it 10-8.
Toronto's still got 40 seconds to kill here, and they would really like to kill this and come out of this quarter still up by 2 goals at least.
John Tavares into the slot. Darius Kilgore back onto the floor. Tavares. Kilgore scores over the shoulder of Bob Watson, and these 2 penalties have been very effectively handled by the Bandits' power play.
Now here, as I said, Tavares and Kilgore. You want to keep Kilgore out of the game as much as possible. And he's one of these guys who, once he gets a taste, he's dangerous. Now, Jimmy Veltman was in the penalty box there, and then having Jimmy back out on the short man will help a lot. You like to keep Darius Kilgore quiet. He's like a sleeping giant.
2 in a row for Darius Kilgore. And it is very quickly a 1-goal game. And the Bandits carrying the momentum right here after scoring on the power plays. Tavares.
Very important not to let Buffalo score here.
A pass into the goal mouth area. A penalty coming. And it is knocked back of the net. And here is another call. And this time it appears Rory Graham's going to the box. Jim Veltman argues the call, but to no avail. Never seen one of those overruled.
No. The Bandits have scored on the last 2 power plays, and it's no coincidence that Jimmy Veltman wasn't able to play the short man. Jimmy Veltman was in the penalty box at the time.
Well, it is a 5-on-4 advantage here. Tavares down low. Gets the ball returned. A chance stopped there. A good save by Watson, and knocked down in front of the Toronto goal is Panos, as he was flattened after getting the chance. We've got a break in the action here as the end of the third quarter has arrived. The Rock by 1 in their home opener at the Garden.
Welcome back to the Gardens. We're through 3 quarters of play. It's Toronto 10, Buffalo 9. With me, Les Wakeling, head coach of the Buffalo Bandits. You guys seem to be fading at one point, but they're coming back, and this has really turned into an outstanding game.
Yeah, we knew it would be a tough defensive battle, and Toronto's playing very good defense, but we run into a few penalty problems. Hopefully we can get it straightened out in this quarter. There's still lots of time left.
Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Well, when it comes to the coaches in this game, we always get more from Les. Back to you, Joe and Brock.
Very good, Paul. Very good.
And both Les's know that lacrosse is a game of many momentum shifts, and neither one of them are panicking when the team is down.
You've got all kinds of experience with Les Wakeling.
Yeah, I played for Les for about 8 years in Brampton and Six Nations, and he was a great coach to play for. And
right there, it's up there now. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's up there. Yeah, still your ball.
They're just...
Huh? What's that? Yeah, give it a new shot.
Yeah, they're getting a new shot clock organized.
Get back to Les Wakeling. He's won 5 Man Cups in a row. And it's pretty interesting here. Les coached a lot of these Buffalo Bandits in the summer, where Les Bartley coached most of them in the winter. And they both had their share of success.
All right, here we go with the Toronto Rock leading by a goal in the fourth quarter. Kilgore. Panos. Kilgore.
Now,
Here's Kilgore trying to
the
get
key here now is that they got Jimmy Veltman back. Hopefully he can settle the short man down a bit.
good hit there by Terry Bullen as he took his man to the wall. But a penalty again here against Toronto, and where Buffalo ran into the penalty problems in the first half, it is the Rock taking the penalties here in the second, as Tavares submarine there to make sure he got out of the way. But
Johnny took a nice swing there. He got away with one.
Rory Graham back in the penalty box. The ball loose but controlled by Buffalo. Down low, the pass went for Darius Kilgore. Corralled here by the Rock and to the goaltender. So Bob Watson has time to play it, but just 10 seconds to get the ball up the floor, and it is quickly brought there by Chris Langdale.
Now, if Toronto can kill this off, hopefully the refs will get off their back, because I think the referees, I didn't even see what happened in that last call.
Doyle to the net trying to score shorthanded. Ball outside and is pushed ahead by Marty O'Neill with Doyle diving at him, and a change of players, but a quick transition here for Buffalo. Kilgore throws the ball away. It bounces back in front. Doldridge into the slot. A shot deflects off Tavares wide.
Beautiful pass by Cordingley and beautiful shot by Johnny Tavares there.
Darius Kilgore with the ball. Cordingley. Penalty is over. A shot right on. Loose ball in front. Scores. No, waved off. The whistle had gone as Graham came roaring out of the penalty box and got a healthy piece of Rich Kilgore at the side of the goal.
Watch this pass from Cordingley down to Tavares, and I don't know how Bobby Watson got over to save that.
Rory Graham roared back into the action there and made a big play. Now here's the Rock on the attack. 35 seconds left in the penalty, though, as they are a man short. And what a game Rod Squire has played, particularly in this aspect. Yeah. And he throws one up into Bolty's Blues.
Now, if you're not used to lacrosse, you don't know what the heck he was doing there. But that.
He got it up even higher than that. There we go, way up, and I'll call Rusty. He's sitting right up there in the back row.
Roddy knew there was only a second left in the shot clock, and rather than tossing it to the goalie, he threw it in the crowd. But he's probably not used to playing in front of such big crowds. Normally that's an empty stand.
John Tavares, a pass in front. Tavares after a loose ball. Corralled here by the Rock.
Beautiful play.
And here's Squire again. Got it ahead. Coyle. Out of the penalty box. The Rock back at full strength and changing on the go. Squire, this time it is Kim. Kim Squire to the far side. Williams moves to the front, takes the ball. Sean Williams trying to get a shot. Williams down back at the net. The wraparound, no. Loose ball, yes. And it is Toronto, but running out of time. They didn't get a shot away, and then Sean Williams gives a little hack just for good measure to the Buffalo player, Troy Cordingley.
The last 4 penalties have been against Toronto, and it looks like they finally called one on Buffalo.
It is Steve Fennell getting the call.
Steve Fennell is one of the best defensive players in the league. He's been around for about 5 years in this league. We're going to show the penalty here.
So Steve Fennell goes to the box with that hit, and Williams
I think the penalty was actually the one behind the net.
All right.
But that looked like it might have been a makeup call for calling so many on Toronto. I guess the refs felt that they had, much like
now,
hockey.
you see, it sounds just like hockey, where things, but the officials sometimes referee the score instead of the game. You're not suggesting that.
I don't know. I just know that if I ever play again with these referees, they won't like me.
No, you're in trouble already.
I already was.
Doyle down low on a nice feed in front.
That was a beautiful play there, and that was a great timely save by Marty O'Neill.
Helmet dislodged. Keenan has to go back to retrieve it. Here's Colin Doyle up top. Now for Hurd. Doyle's shot stopped by O'Neill. Loose ball corralled by Buffalo, and they'll kill off some time as they bring it out.
Marty O'Neill's game has picked up. He's been making some key saves lately.
Tavares in for Santos, and a shot stopped by Bob Watson. Ball to Toronto. 52 seconds left in the power play. 10:33 to go in the fourth quarter.
Toronto's got to keep shooting. Sometimes when a goalie's saving the shots like that, it frustrates the team to the point where they're not shooting where they should. Hopefully Toronto keeps taking those outside shots.
Doyle over top the net.
Sooner or later they'll go in.
This is Hurd exchanging it with Williams. His shot and another good save by O'Neill. Loose ball and a transition. Good chance here now for Rosa. Great save by Bobby Watson. A one-goal game. And we should tell our viewers that there is overtime here in the event of a tie in a one-goal game.
Joe, if it's tied, they go into sudden death overtime.
Williams scores!
Now, what a save that was by Bobby Watson. That's a two-goal swing. If Johnny Rose had scored on that breakaway, that's a tie game. Bobby just gave his team a chance to come back. Here's Sean Williams. They got to keep taking these outside shots. Like I said, sooner or later they'll go in.
And he makes the difference here.
Beautiful shot.
11-9.
The other thing, Joe, about taking the outside shots, it forces Buffalo to play wide on you. Look at this play by.
Here's another chance. Squire! Oh, great save off the arm of O'Neill.
Great save and great loose ball by Squire.
Another chance. Feldman scores! No, it hit the post. The light went on. The light went on in behind O'Neill, but the referee says play on. Is there no video replay in this
Well,
game?
you know, unfortunately, that hit the mesh, but unfortunately, Lacrosse, they never call that a goal when it's in and out.
Williams' backhand stopped, and things heating up here at the Gardens. Williams again off another piece of the post. They've hit it twice.
Toronto just picked up about 5 loose balls in a row.
Here's a sixth. Keenan bounces it wide, and it goes over the glass and out of play. Some great pressure by the Toronto Rock, who get a timeout on the floor. With 8:55 to go in the fourth quarter, the Toronto Rock lead by a score of 11-9 in their home opener at the Garden.
Both goaltenders have really picked up their games.
Sure have. And an 11-9 score here with the Toronto Rock out in front. And the ball turned over. Here's the great save earlier on.
Watch this. This is a shorthanded breakaway by Buffalo that would have tied the game. John Rosa, beautiful save by Bobby Watson. Toronto came up the floor, scored a goal, and they're up by 2 again.
Sean Williams scoring, and it is up by 2, as you mentioned. A behind-the-back pass. Goaltender O'Neill out to cover his man, and both players to the floor. Lead pass. Tavares scores his first of the game. John Tavares makes it 11-10.
They can't keep Johnny off the board the whole game. And here's a play where you see a guy leaving the bench. We're going to show this. Now watch from the pass. John Tavares was on the bench when Buffalo was playing defense. Came off the fast break. You don't stop him too often when he's one-on-one on the goalie.
Just as he was about to receive the ball, one of the Buffalo Bandits managed to get to that area we talked about that is cordoned off by that line out in front of the bench. And so Tavares, in essence, got a 50-foot head start, and it turned into the goal.
And that, you'll see that happen in lacrosse all the time. The defender, as soon as his team gets the ball, will hustle to the bench so that an offensive player can run out the other side, gaining that 30 feet or so.
Here's Squire bringing it up the floor. Roddy Squire. Head faking. Dropping it back to Keenan, and Squire to the bench. Boy, he's played well defensively for the Toronto Rock. Here's Keenan. looking in with the shot. An easier save made by O'Neill there, and a one-goal game with 7.5 minutes to play in the fourth quarter.
At this point in the game, too, we're going to see how well conditioned both teams are. This is when teams have to start playing their top players more. You're going to see Johnny Tavares on the floor every time Buffalo gets the ball. And for the same reason, you see the defensive players on Toronto on the floor a lot.
Here we go again with Doyle. Getting it down low for Squire, Kim Squire. The Squire boys have been rather large here tonight. Kim offensively and certainly Roddy defensively. Here's Veltman, a shot blocked, rebound, looking for the fast break, but is it too far for Veltman?
Buffalo's cheating here. John Tavares was taking off before he even knew if his team had the ball or not. And that's wise when you're down by a goal.
Tavares is covered and Toronto with the ball. Veltman.
Watch Tavares cheating here. He's already up the floor. He's already gone.
And he's calling for the ball. And
Cordingley made a blind pass, a beautiful pass. He knows where Johnny's going.
Williams. Now for Hurd.
You'll be seeing that more often from now on is whenever Toronto goes to take a shot, somebody in Buffalo is going to be taken off.
Hurd with a shot over top the goal. Loose ball, unable to control it there was Kim Squire. Changing players again, and here's Tavares off the bench. Tavares looking and holding the ball to set things up. 6:08 and time ticking away here, fourth quarter.
Roddy Squire's on Tavares.
Darius Kilgore. And the crowd getting into it as well with a chant of defense. Kilgore lost the ball, now attracts a crowd. Loose ball that Squire doesn't see until it rolls by him, but he is predominated and taking extra care of John Tavares.
Roddy is doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. Covering a regular player, you're supposed to turn around, check to see where the ball is, but Tavares is so good, you don't take your eyes off him.
Toronto ball. Giles. Here's Jimmy Veltman with some room, but it is quickly cut off and shut off by Brian Silcott of Buffalo. Now Veltman trying to get the return pass, and a shot off the chest of O'Neill. Rebound is corralled by Buffalo. One-goal game. Kilgore down the floor.
One of the keys to Buffalo's success today was getting strong game from their goaltending. Well, Marty O'Neill has been fantastic this quarter.
Ciccone for Travis Kilgore. Now back to Rich Kilgore. Rich Kilgore. Wait, shoots, block save, good play made by Bob Watson. And the transition now for Toronto. Lead pass, and they'll hold it up. Russ Hurd waiting for reinforcements. Stroop with a shot, and it bounds wide and goes over the glass. Buffalo ball with 4:39 to play.
You might wonder why Russ Hurd stopped there. But at this point in the game with a lead, if you're not sure if you got a good alley to the net, you don't want to take a shot with 30 seconds left in the shot clock.
Well, we've got 4:39 left on the game clock, and you see the score, a one-goal Toronto lead. And pre-game parties. Pick the best Western Primrose Hotel for luxury and affordability. Call now for reservations, 1-800-268-8082. One-goal game. The Toronto Rock leading, and they gain a loose ball as they have almost throughout the course of the game. They have dominated this aspect. Now down low, Dan Stroop. He has the hat trick, and off the pole. They have been guilty of just missing. On 3 occasions, they've hit the post in behind Marty O'Neill.
And that crossbar has been Marty O'Neill's friend this quarter.
Here's Williams, and that went wide without O'Neill even seeing it. Down low, it rolls into the crease, and O'Neill is there again. Transition again, and out of the box comes Tavares. Great pass! Oh, and another big save by Bobby Watson. He exploded off the bench, John Tavares did, and took that ball in stride. And that young man, Bob Watson, comes up huge.
We talked about John Tavares on his last goal, but leaving early. Here it is again. Watch, he's looking for Tavares. They all know he's coming from the bench. And he'll cheat if he can. There's nothing wrong with that. If the ref's not watching, you take the extra step.
Veltman
Toronto's got to be aware of that.
In front, Doyle, loose ball, scooped up. Rock with control, the time ticking on the shot clock, 5 seconds. They'll have to shoot it and do, and a scoop save made there by O'Neill.
Now what Toronto will probably start to do is having somebody get ready to run back as soon as the shot's taken. Because they got to take away the fast break from Tavares.
Hazen heads to the bench after getting the ball into Toronto territory. Pass in front, stopped by Watson. Rebound! Another shot block, no goal! It goes back of the net and a whistle.
The other thing you're going to see, Joe, is for the rest of the game, when Buffalo gets the ball, you're going to see Tavares accordingly.
Field rule, no penalty shot.
And the Kilgore is on the floor, almost every time. And they've been in this position many times.
Here's Kilgore, Darius Kilgore, ball in the crease, smothered by Bob Watson.
And the strategy for Toronto at this point is to take the full 30 seconds every time you get the possession.
Dean Ciccone knocked down and regaining his helmet. Referee says,
he had a good one going.
No, he had a good one going, you're right. Billy did. Bob Watson was on the Mann Cup championship team from Niagara Falls in '97, and he has been huge here in this second half.
No surprises there. Bobby was solid all last season.
Squire on offensively, which is a change here.
He's out there for his defensive ability.
Exactly.
He's standing back. He's not even really trying to get in the offense.
And if he's looking over his shoulder for
he's watching
number 11, yeah, he is.
Exactly.
And the ball will be turned over to Buffalo. 11-10 with 2:06 to go in the fourth quarter. O'Neill with a word with the referee. Here's a look at Bob Watson.
Actually, Bobby Watson last summer took a shot to the face mask. You were talking about the danger of being a goalie. He broke his cheekbone. His eyeball actually fell below the socket. They had to operate. He was out of lacrosse for about 4 months, and he wasn't sure if he was going to be playing or not, but they're glad to have him back.
And he has been outstanding here as we get a timeout called on the floor with 2:06 remaining here in the fourth quarter.
Rod Squire has been playing fantastic today and getting the loose balls, key loose balls, interceptions. He's been covering John Tavares, and he's one of the big reasons why Toronto is winning. We were talking about Roddy earlier. Joe, he's a man of few words, and he doesn't like to fly. He doesn't fly with the team. We'd asked him.
All right, let's quickly go down to Paul Hendrick. We'll finish that in a minute. Paul?
Ed Como, assistant coach, what did you tell your defense out there?
Well, we told them to be ready for Buffalo. If they do get down late, they may pull the goalie, and what we want to do, and just that we have to own every loose ball and take some time off the clock when we get it.
Time to hold off the Bandit surge.
But definitely.
Let's go back upstairs, Joe.
All right.
Toronto's got to watch for the goalie to be pulled. They won't pull the goalie for a while.
Travis Kilgore bounces it wide. Loose ball corralled by Buffalo. Another loose ball. Again, good play made here by Darius Kilgore to the net. And it bounces in front of Watson and caroms up into the red seats. Your story about Squire.
Well, Rod Squire won't fly with the team. He doesn't fly. And we asked him if he had a fear of flying. And he said, no, I don't know. I've never flown.
Makes sense.
So it's just something he chooses not to do. But he's a fantastic player.
And you're awful glad he gets to the games.
That's right. That snowstorm a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we'll have to see if John Madden's bus is available.
Yeah.
Doyle in front. The shot went just wide, and it's turned over. Doldridge brings it out. 1:14, keeping an eye on goaltender O'Neill. Here's Rich Kilgore. And out of the goal now comes Marty O'Neill. They'll go with 6 attackers with a minute left to go here in the fourth quarter.
Now Toronto can't play man-on-man now. They'll set up a zone. They might have decided to take...
Long shot, block, rebound. No, whistle goes. Interference. The referees are going to discuss it here.
Toronto's getting a penalty for too many men on the floor. I never noticed it, but it was actually John Tavares who notified the refs of it.
Oh, boy.
No, it's not. In this game, it's not. The only way you're going to get a penalty shot here, under 2 minutes, and they just place the goal away from it. Take it out of the way.
All right. Even the players in this league have to have the rules explained to them a little bit.
Oh, exactly.
So here is a huge opportunity now.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4,
4,
5.
5, and we realize
six.
it now. And it is Kim Squire realizing that there are too many of us out here. And he headed for the bench, and that was when John Tavares told the officials. And so Bill Fox has Toronto a man short with 50 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter. And so it is now a two-man disadvantage in essence.
This will be interesting. Buffalo will probably keep Marty O'Neill in the net now, because a 5-on-4 is probably just as beneficial as a 6-on-4, and it takes away the risk of having a shot on the empty net. But we'll see.
And with more than 30 seconds, they have to shoot the ball here sooner or later, right? And they may get another crack at it.
With less than 30, they'll probably take him out for the last shot.
Here's Tavares. Kilgore bounces wide, loose ball far side. Tavares having difficulties with it. Now a half-minute left. And now he signals to the bench for a timeout. And so they'll discuss it, and more than likely Marty O'Neill will get instruction here as he walks to the bench as to whether this is the point where they'll go with the sixth attacker.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll take him out now because there's only 10 seconds left on the shot clock, but I think they will. I think it's worth the risk, and I would bet that Les Wakeling probably will too. What Buffalo will probably try to do is take him out, play the 6-on-4. When you get your shot, now you have more guys to fight for the loose ball.
You also get a chance on the fly to send him right back out.
I don't even think they'll attempt that at this point.
All right, Paul is with Bob Watson. Paul?
Thank you, Joe. Bob, the Bandit surge continues. How's it been back there for you? Are you seeing the ball well? It certainly looks that way.
Oh, yeah, defense are playing great right now. We just got to box them out and none of them get a good clear shot.
Great crowd. You want to send them away happy, don't you?
Excellent crowd. We really want to do that for the fans tonight.
All right, get back into the net and good luck. Back upstairs to you, Joe.
Certainly glad that Paul cut that interview short. I wouldn't want to have Bob over there by the bench while the game's going on. An empty netter. Yeah.
Now the key here is if the ball hits the ground, is Toronto's got to get the loose ball.
28.2 seconds left in the fourth quarter. 11-10 is the score. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Kilgore, Tavares. Kilgore behind the back for John Tavares. Loose ball. Corralled here by the Bandits. Good play by Travis Kilgore. Now they scrum it in the corner, and time runs out.
Okay.
With 14.8 seconds remaining in the quarter, Toronto ball.
Buffalo has to press now. In fact, Buffalo would be wise to pull their goalie now and cover everybody. And I think that would be...
Well, if not, he's going out. Marty O'Neill is going out to... Yeah, and another timeout called, as this is much like basketball, where the last minutes of the half and the quarter have an awful lot of strategy attached to it, as we look at Les Wakeling and the Buffalo Bandits along with Les Bartley and the Toronto Rock discussing it here.
Toronto is going to get the ball into Jimmy Veltman's stick. He is the most sure-handed guy out there. They're going to try to get guys up the floor to try to pull the Buffalo guys away so it's not so crowded. But what they might have a set play, but whereas Jimmy's going to know where to throw it to if he's in trouble.
All right.
But what Buffalo's going to try to do is put on the press. I think they should keep the goalie out, and it looks like they're going to. But with 6 guys against 4, they can cover everybody and double team the ball.
So now they have an empty net to the right. Now there is goaltender Marty O'Neill on the bench.
Now this might seem dangerous, but Bobby Watson's got to be an outlet for Jimmy Veltman. Bobby Watson's got to be somebody. He's got to force Buffalo to cover him.
All right.
That's what he's doing there.
Now he's out of the goal, so both nets are empty.
Now you see Buffalo's chosen not to cover him, and he got the pass. Now he's got to throw it away.
And a loose ball, and down, knocked flat is goaltender Bob Watson, and he has been hurt as Tavares ran him over. Here we go, look out. Tavares took a run at Bob Watson, and he is down, and so are a few other players. Watson is being attended to here by the trainer, Dave Murray, and Tavares is being attended to by one of the And now he's walking around as John Tavares is the extra attacker who's out on the floor because everyone else is paired off.
Now, I haven't seen this yet, but if it's a cheap shot, Johnny's should get a huge penalty, maybe a misconduct and suspension. Because this is what we were talking about where we said the goalie is not free game anymore because they want to stop this.
The training staff out to take a look at Bob Watson. And the crowd on its feet here, and that is John Tavares, as a number of them are being restrained from taking a run at Tavares here as things seem to be cooling out, and that's a good sign. Bob Watson getting up onto his haunches and looking like he is going to be able to continue. Here's a look at it.
Now, Toronto played this perfectly. Now, let's watch Johnny and see what happens here.
The ball is gone. The ball is long gone. And that is when Bob Watson got nailed. There it is. It's long gone. And he takes a pretty good shot.
And that's a legit hit on a player, but not on a goalie. And now, if the referees are going to call it the same on superstars as they do on everybody else,
John Tavares has scored just one goal. And so he's got to be frustrated. And that man, Bob Watson, has come up big against him time and time again.
We'll see what they call on this, and we'll see if Toronto gets the possession.
Everybody on their feet at the Gardens.
5 minutes, 2 minutes, your ball.
And the discussion going on. Maybe we can eavesdrop here a little.
Darius Kilgore's having a discussion with the crowd.
Referee. Here we are.
Number 11 Tavares for Buffalo. Number 11, 5 minutes illegal check, game misconduct.
That's the right
call. Kevin Doyle, 2 minutes roughing, game misconduct.
So we're hearing about the misconduct penalties. Tavares, and Doyle.
I think Doyle might have come from, he might have come off the bench, but I'm not sure.
All right.
You know what? I don't think he did. I think he was playing up the floor on the offense. But Doyle did what he should. Come in and protect your goalie.
Well, Bob Watson took one terrific shot there and was knocked right onto his keister by the hit from John Tavares. Toronto will gain the ball with 6.5 seconds to try to kill off. That's the amount of time left on the game clock with a 1-goal lead. And right now, as we look back on the save that Watson made on the breakaway by Rosa, and then the turnaround with Williams scoring to make it a 2-goal lead, it's the game-winning goal on the board right now.
That was absolutely huge. Now it's not over yet, but with Toronto having the ball here, they should be able to kill these 6 seconds.
Now goaltender Marty O'Neill has gone back into the net, so they can't double team the ball.
Squires are just
running the ball. Well, he has got great speed and great foot speed, and he runs out the clock.
And he deserves to finish with a game ball because he had a great game.
He certainly does. And the Toronto Rock, in their first home game here at Maple Leaf Gardens, come off the bench to congratulate Bob Watson on a 1-goal victory over the Buffalo Bandits here in front of 10,000 or so at Maple Leaf Gardens. And there's the victorious coach, Les Bartley, coming into the huddle to congratulate
Les
his
Bartley
players.
is very happy out there. Les Bartley coached Buffalo for about 6 years, and there's no one any happier than he is right now.
So it went right down to the final seconds. And for lacrosse fans in Ontario and here in Toronto, a great opening night extravaganza and a great opening night effort to view. And we've got all kinds of games coming here, 5 more home games at Maple Leaf Gardens to enjoy, including next Friday when the Toronto Rock will entertain the Rochester Nighthawks. And we hope that we'll have you down here. If not, we'll have the game for you right here as the teams congratulate one another. And the Toronto Rock going around saluting the fans, and why not? I'll tell you what, I've had a great time tonight.
They played a fantastic game, and I think the crowd, I mean, the Toronto team is very happy with the crowd, but I think the crowd's very happy with them. And that was an entertaining game. You couldn't ask for a better game.
You certainly couldn't. Good look at those in attendance on this Friday night at Maple Leaf Gardens. And Les Bartley, the head coach of the Toronto Rock, as the team files off, standing by with Paul Hendrick. Paul?
Thank you, Joe. Les, a Hollywood writer couldn't have scripted this any better, and the fans loved it. An Academy Award performance tonight.
Yeah, it was a great game for the fans out there. It's kind of tough as a coach being in a one-goal game most of the night. But it couldn't have better result for us.
What was the game plan coming in, designed against Tavares and Kilgore? It obviously worked. You kept John to one goal. Perhaps a lot of hard work, but a bit of luck in there as well.
Well, I don't know how much luck there was because we had real good matchups. Rod Squire played the game of his life. Probably was the player of the game out here tonight, even though maybe it didn't light it up in the other end. But Rod Squire shut him down all night long and made excellent plays against him. The other thing is Dan Ladouceur, our big 6'5" guy, shut down Darius Kilgore and was in his face all night long. That was the key to those two guys.
Leave it to a policeman to arrest their top guy. And, of course, Rod Squire's an iron worker, but a man of steel, so tremendous on the short man advantage situations here tonight.
Absolutely. Our man down situation pulled us out time and time again. When we were 2 men short even, our man down played unbelievable, and it was a good victory for us.
Enjoy the win, Rochester, next week. Good luck back then.
Thanks very much.
Les Bartley, head coach of the Toronto Rock. Joe Bowen, back upstairs to you and Brian.
Here's the turning point right here. John Rosa on a clear-cut breakaway, and goaltender Bob Watson gets a shoulder in the way. And the Rock go on to win.
Right hand, nah, let's switch it to the left. 2 hands, nah. Dunk on him? Let's save it. Oh, here we go.
There are 4 major oil companies that sell gasoline in this country. 2 have their world headquarters in Texas, 1 in Holland, and 1, the one you're looking at right now, in Calgary, Alberta. Now, which one do you think has a better understanding of what you have to drive through this winter? Super clean winter gas, only from Petro-Canada. You have to live here to get it.
That look that shows great care feels so good. It's Downy Care. If that look who could ask for more, Downy Care will feel in your toe.
Ultra Downy rinses in comfy softness while it gently helps to protect fibers from fading over time. That's Downy Care.
Looks so good, feels so soft. Ultra Downy does it all. Our best way to care is Downy Care. See how Downy does it. Come on in.
Molson Toronto Rock Lacrosse on CTV Sportsnet. Was brought to you by Molson Canadian and by the Toronto Sun.
Well, an exciting night in Toronto as the Toronto Rock, with their first home game ever, win an 11-10 thriller over the Buffalo Bandits. And Brian Shanahan, a great night for lacrosse in Canada and in Ontario.
It was a great night for lacrosse with the crowd here and that, but the best part about it is Toronto won. They executed their game plan. It'd be a different story here if we were saying it was a great night but we lost, but Toronto, they wanted to keep John Tavares from having a big night, and he just scored, I think, a goal and an assist. They tried to keep Buffalo off the power play. They did for the most part, and then when Buffalo did get a few power plays for a while there, the penalty killing came up huge. Jimmy Veltman, Rod Squires on loose balls was fantastic, And Bobby Watson made some timely saves. He played great.
We're going to look forward to next week as well, and I know so is Paul Hendrick, and let's toss it down to him. Paul?
Well, Joe and Brian, thank you very much. What a result here for the Toronto Rock tonight. A mere week ago, they had to travel to Baltimore. It took them nearly 11 hours to get to that game, stranded in Cincinnati for nearly 4.5 hours, arrived at the rink 1 hour prior to game time, and then ran into Gary Gate, who rang up a 10-point night, and they went on to lose 21-11. A win here this evening was absolutely mandatory to get the fans back, and I'll tell you what will be a great game is when the Toronto Rock head back to Buffalo to visit the Bandits. Our final score tonight, Toronto 11, Buffalo 10. Next game will be Friday, January 29th, when the Rock play host to the Rochester Nighthawks, and we'll have it live.